Hey guys, it's Kate and I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm here with my Marie's Masters palette, my quill brush. I've got some bee paper taped down on my little, this is actually a clipboard and it's wonderful. I got I don't know, several of them for a couple of bucks each at the store, and they're great for taping down your paper. You can set it aside when you're done working and it's very cheap and easy. But without further ado, let's get into our video. I've got my wet brush, dry paper. I'm going to dip first into my Payne's Gray, and we're going to do some glazing today. So I'm going to start off with a nice light layer of the colors I'm going to use. So what I'm planning on putting on the paper is Payne's Gray, raw sienna, and some indigo. And I'm going to cover my whole page with a light layer so that we can build on it. And I'm just going to put in some loose shapes here. I'm going to put down the Payne's Gray first and make kind of a largish area, just kind of meandering through the paper and getting a nice light layer of color on here. And it's going to dry even lighter than this, but I just want to make sure that it's going to layer well because we're going to put some other stuff on top. So now I'm going to mix up a little bit of the raw sienna, which is kind of a close cousin, I would say, to the yellow ochre, at least how it looks on the page. This one here is the raw sienna, and this one here is the yellow ochre. The raw sienna might be just a tad bit darker, and I think it might even be a little bit more transparent, but I haven't really tested that, so that's just from my recollection. So I'm going to go and add some more color mix here. I'm going to get a little bit of cauliflowering effect around where my paint edges are, but I don't really care about that. This is kind of a dryish wash. And I might even kind of blend these together a little bit too across that Payne's Gray, but not too much. But I might just allow them to meet up a little bit on the page. All right, I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to dip into my indigo. And indigo is another nice dark color. It's got a bit more of a blue look. I've got my swatch sheet here, and you can kind of see the difference between the Payne's Gray and indigo. They're both very dark blues, but this has, I don't know, more of a blue tone to it. Maybe even a little bit slight hint of violet. And so it has enough of a difference to add a bit of a nice blend over with that Payne's Gray, but it's also a nice light mix. So I'm going to kind of let these all come together too, fill in the last bits on my page, and just kind of have a nice, interesting background. And I might go over this yellow just a bit so that it's kind of a smaller block. And then I'm going to let this dry completely. All right, we are completely dry and we have a nice little paint layer going on right here. I'm going to add another little glaze. So we have some good borders going, and I'm going to use the same colors as before. And I'm going to start off again. Or actually, I started off with the Payne's Gray last time, didn't I? So I'm going to start off with the raw sienna this time. And I'm going to add some more shapes. And you can see that it's going to leave another kind of hazy border that's slightly darker than the other portions of the painting. I'm still going very light. And these are going to be some more hard edge type of shapes. And I'm just going to go over it gently with my brush. I'm not going to get it too wet. I just want a little bit of extra color that's going to overlap with the bottom layers. And it's just going to add just an extra bit of depth. So I've got that color on there, the raw sienna. I'm going to go back into this indigo and mix up a little layer of that. I'm going to make sure to add some extra water to this mix. I didn't dip too much color out of my pan, but it is a pretty rich color, so I just want to make sure I'm staying light. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And just add some kind of wispy shapes almost to the page. And you're going to have a bit of that hard edge kind of showing there, but it's still going to be very light. So then I'm going to let this dry and we're going to start on making some flowers. All right, I'm back. We are all dry and I love this background. I actually kind of want to leave it like that, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna make some flowers. So we're gonna do some brush mashing. I grabbed my quill brush. It's kind of thick. I'm gonna go back into this indigo again, but make it much heavier. I've got a brush filled with water and we're gonna make some simple flowers. So with my brush, I'm going to make one flower that's a little bit sideways right up here in this area. So I'm going to do a mash there, a mash there, a mash there, and then I'm going to leave a little gap here for the center, pick up some more paint, and then I'm going to kind of go a little bit sideways and do kind of a roll, and then another roll right here, and that's going to be a little sideways flower. And then we're going to come back and make some marks there, but we're going to leave it be for right now. Now this one, maybe this flower here is going to be straight on. So I'm going to add some of my brush mashes, make sure I'm working with a nice wet brush. I might even add another one right there. We'll have 6 petals. Why not? And I'm going to add some more color. And why don't we do a couple little buds here? How about another one right there? So before my paint dries all the way, I'm going to take my rigger brush and I'm going to get a bit into this alizarin crimson. I'm just going to drop a little bit into the outside some of my leaves. And I'm just going to keep it loose and let it kind of go in where it wants to. And I'm just dropping in a little bit. And this is going to give it some warmth and bring it a little bit more to the front, so we can have some more color in our flowers. And I'm just adding a little bit there. Now I'm going to go back in straight out of the pan to that indigo. I'm going to do a dark blob and bring it down. A dark blob here at the bottom and bring it down. Let me get some more, make sure my brush is wet. I don't need a blob there, but I am going to bring it down. And then this one here, maybe I'll just have that one coming up right next to it. Now, I'm going to wait for this to dry and add my centers to the 2 flowers. And then also I'm going to put in a few little leaves. All right, we're all dry except for a couple of these little blobs here that are getting close. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next part. I'm grabbing my 1/2 inch flat brush. This is actually from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use this one to make my leaves. So I'm just going to kind of come down sideways like this and make some sort of light leaf shapes. Maybe I'll add a little bit more color to that so they pop a little bit more. And you can kind of push your brush down and then bring it back up. I'm going to play with the shape a little bit, just like that. And maybe I'll even have one kind of coming in like this, right into the stem. And I'm going to use plenty of paint so there's lots of contrast, just like that. Maybe I'll have one kind of coming off the page there because that's my tape, so it's going to be like it's coming off. And I might even do one down here for that too. I don't want to just have leaves just starting like 1 inch above where my painting starts. So I think that's enough for me. And next I'm going to grab my rigger brush again, get it damp, grab a little bit of paint. Now I'm going to be very light with this, but I want to add just a little bit of definition. I'm even going to wipe off excess paint because I just want to add a little bit, just so we're kind of having a little bit of separation with the petals, but I want it to blend in. So I'm just going to be very gentle. And even this, I think, is a bit much. I might end up just leaving it. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it because honestly, I think that looks fine. So what I'm going to do next is go back into this indigo, get a nice dark load on my brush. I'm going to add a couple little blobs there, but I'm going to leave some white. And I'm going to sweep up with a couple of little lines, just like that. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Just with a few to add some nice dark centers. I'm going to just fan a couple of these out more. And where it was moist right here, it's kind of picking up that paint and spreading it a little, which I actually really like that. And I might do that a bit down here. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water here and just let it touch ever so slightly to a little of that. And then I'm just going to let this kind of blend in a bit over here. I'm dabbing my brush and picking up excess water. I don't want puddles here, just a little bit of moisture. That looks good to me. Okay, while that's drying, I've got my gold paint activated and I want to add a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to start on the background and just put in some sort of small gold circles that I like to do. And just kind of keep them simple. I might add some little tiny ones like this. And it's just going to add a little something extra. Now I'm using my rigger brush because it happens to be in my hand, but you could use a round brush or anything you want. And I'm only going to add just a very few. We're sprinkling like seasoning, so not too much. Now I'm dipping in the water again, getting some more water and getting a nice bit on my rigger brush, taking off a bit of bead of water there. Sometimes when I dip it in my jar and I pull it out, I have a water droplet here, and if I don't take it off, it ends up inevitably rolling down my brush and then depositing itself on my paper. Even if I, am not even in that area, it just tends to roll down with the gravity. I'm even going to wipe off a little excess, but I'm going to add just a couple little lines on my petals. And you can barely see them. Now I'm being careful not to go into my blue because I don't want to spread that everywhere. That's too much gold, I think. I'm going to dab my brush and kind of mop up a little of that. My cat just jumped off. She says hello to everybody. She's like my supervisor when I'm painting. And then I'm just going to add a couple little lines on this too. Nothing major. All right. I think we can probably call this good. So I'm going to take off my tape so we can see it with all the nice clean borders without all the paint sticking out on the sides. And that's one of my favorite parts. These are very simple flowers to do. I love the glazing on the background. I think that really just gives it so much interest and just something nice as a base for our flowers. So let me hold this up for the close-up. You can see everything. And then I'm also going to give it a good tilt so you can see that sparkly gold on there, which I really love. And this is with the Marie's Masters palette. That's the gold watercolor from Marie's Masters too. I really love this palette. It's very rich in color. It is very reasonably priced. I actually buy the tube colors and put it right in here. I buy an empty palette with the full pans. So they last a long time and they're very pigmented. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. Hope you followed along with me and had a good time doing this. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating. Bye.